Hello, my name's Fowl Gaming, otherwise known as Charlie. Welcome into the Coop and episode number 7 of Coop Corner Chat. So today's topic is one that has been suggested from the comments. So firstly, I'm going to be putting the comment just down below here. So thank you very much to Player2 Gaming, otherwise known as Drybones. He is my YouTube editor, who has said, an idea I had for Coop Corner Chat was this: what is enough to get a person into gaming? So what I mean by that is, let's say someone wants to get into gaming more than just a mobile app. What do you think is a good direction or starting point for them to have? This could be getting a console or PC, how much of a budget they have, or what games to get based on what they're interested in. I think it would be a fun discussion to have. So first things first, thank you very much for that suggestion. As you have suggested it and it's made it into the video, you will be getting 1,000 foul eggs in my next stream. I'm going to simplify that comment down to one question: how should you get into the gaming world? So this video is talking to those that maybe don't currently have a gaming platform or are looking to change gaming platforms, and which one is right for you. So the platforms we're going to be discussing are mobile. Now I know that Drybones said to get away from mobile, but I still want to discuss it. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. So firstly, let's discuss the positives and negatives of each of platforms. Let's start with mobile. So what I would reckon is the biggest positive for mobile is it is technically the cheapest way to get into gaming. Now, don't get me wrong, a decent phone that's going to be able to play games well is going to cost you anywhere from £500 up normally. So actually, you could turn around and say it's as expensive as PC gaming. But the reason why I say it's the cheapest is everyone has a phone, right? Now, okay, maybe not everyone. And if you are someone that hasn't got a phone, then take that away. It's not the cheapest way, but let's be honest, most of us out there have phones. A lot of people that are getting into the gaming world probably already have an iPhone or Samsung or some form of Android phone that can play games to a certain extent. So it is kind of the cheapest in general. Obviously, another positive is you can take it anywhere. You know, mobile gaming, your phone's always going to be in your pocket. You can literally play anywhere, anytime. On top of that, with the app stores available, there are a lot of free-to-play games. Now, obviously, if we were to start to compare PC games to mobile free applications, yes, okay, they're not the same level. But if you just want to get into some quick, fun games, a lot of them are free to play. Now, there are actually quite a few high-profile games on mobile. You know, you can play Call of Duty, you can play Fortnite, you can play Dead by Daylight, you can play EVE Online now. There's quite a lot. Minecraft's another one that's popular. You can play quite a lot of high-tier games on mobile, so it's not like because you're playing on mobile, you haven't got access to some of the AAA games. And now, some of the cons of mobile are quite obvious. Firstly, it's the worst performance of all options. Although mobile devices, the screens are lovely, it's still overall worse graphics, worse overall performance, considering you're limited by what is in a mobile. Many games on mobile are also dumbed down, so either that's graphically or content-wise. A lot of games that you play on mobile are not the same as the full games you get on PC. They're generically dumbed down quite a bit, again, due to the performance of mobile compared to consoles and PC. Another con is it's not cross-play compatible. Quite often, games that do have cross-play, like for example Dead by Daylight, do not include mobile platforms. It's also the worst controller experience. Unless you go for a third-party item that plugs into your phone to then make it a controller, just playing with the on-screen controller options is very messy. It doesn't feel very nice, and also takes up quite a bit of your screen real estate. And also with mobile is there's no local multiplayer. I mean, when I say local multiplayer, I'm talking about two people playing on the same device. Yes, if your mate had a phone, you could download a game and play next to them, but I'm talking about, if you're sat next to a friend, they haven't got their phone or haven't got the game, you can't just play it on the same phone. So that's mobile. Let's talk about Xbox and PlayStation now. Now, I'm actually going to bulk Xbox and PlayStation together because although there's a few small differences between the two of them, we're still talking about a generic gaming console here when you talk about the Xbox and PlayStation. So let's talk about the pros again. So firstly, it's the cheapest way to get into gaming if you didn't have a phone already. So I mentioned before that technically the phone is the cheapest if you already have one. But let's say you had a blank state, you didn't have a phone at all, or your phone was not capable of playing games, then technically the Xbox or PlayStation is the cheapest way. You can go out there and get a PS4 or an Xbox One as little as £200 at the moment, brand new. You can get even less if it's used, or you can pay a little bit more and get one that's got a bit more storage or a few more exclusive games. And even the PS5 and Xbox Series Series X or whatever it's called coming out soon, is actually very, very fairly priced for next-gen gaming. So it's definitely the cheapest way to get that kind of like level of gaming at the moment. It's also very easy to set up. Buy the box, plug it into your TV, and it walks you through. Very easy to set up. There's lots of support now. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty certain that Xbox and PlayStation have the largest share of the market. I don't believe, although yes, there's a lot of gaming PCs out there, I believe that there's more Xbox and PS4s out there than PCs for gaming specifically. I might be wrong, but it feels that way anyway. Obviously, there's going to be lots of players. There's also lots of ways to play games. So, you can go to the store and buy a disc. You can download it digitally. There's now streaming services for Xbox and PlayStation, which is a fantastic way to play games as well. Also, what's good about a PlayStation or Xbox is it seconds as a media hub. So, if you have it plugged into your lounge, into your TV, you can use it for Netflix, Amazon Prime, Internet Explorer. It becomes your multimedia hub for your lounge. And for that aspect, it's also great for families because most consoles come with 2 controllers, or you can buy a second controller quite cheaply. So therefore, you can play with your family, you can play with your friends, even if they haven't got an Xbox, PS4, or the games themselves. So next we're going to move on to the Switch. The pros obviously being that it's kind of like a halfway house between mobile gaming and Xbox PS4. It's kind of the best combination of the two because when you dock the Nintendo Switch, obviously it's like playing on PlayStation or Xbox. However, when you take it out of the dock station, it's kind of like an advanced mobile with better controllers and better screen. Now, obviously, the main cons for Switch, though, is it's limited mostly to Nintendo games and indie games. Yes, there are a few AAA titles that have been released on the Switch or would be released, but when they tend to be, again, a bit dumbed down, worse graphics. So it's not the best experience. For example, Skyrim. Yes, you can play Skyrim on the Switch, but you're not going to get the best experience out of it, personally, in my opinion. Now, keep in mind the Switch is just as expensive as the PlayStation or Xbox. So even though the PlayStation or Xbox is much better graphics, what you're getting with the Switch is the mobility with it, which, don't get me wrong, is fantastic. I own a Switch, and I'll tell you now, I barely play my Switch because I've got my PC. The only time I pick up my Switch is if I want to play games in bed. But then again, if there's not a game I want to play, it doesn't get picked up. So I wouldn't say the Switch isn't a good console to have if it's your only console, unless you really, really like Nintendo games. If you can say hand on heart that things like Super Mario, Mario Kart, Legend of Zelda, Super Smash Bros, if those sort of games that's it, that's the games you love, then obviously it's the best console for you. Cool. So the last one then is obviously PC gaming. So the pros is that it's the most versatile when it comes to game choice. You can go out and buy a disc. You can go out and you can do a download. You can obviously stream games, and there's also emulators. I would go as far to say there is not very many games that you can't play on PC if you find some way around it. If you want to play old Nintendo 64 games, old trying to think of SNES or whatever games, you can download emulators and play them on the PC. It's obviously the best graphics available as well, with monitors now going up to 8K, 60 frames per second, and everything in between. You can get the best graphics and frames per second out there compared to any other console. Yes, obviously that's going to come to expense. We'll come on to the cons in a moment, but the point is you can get the best gaming experience when it comes to screens. Also, it's very easy to upgrade over time. That's what I personally think is the best about a PC, because when it comes to consoles with the Switch, PlayStation, or Xbox, one of the cons is that you have to buy the next gen console every time the next one comes out, every 3 to 5 to 6 years whenever they release a new one, which is a fair time to have a console, but it's still something you got to consider. Whereas with a PC, you can upgrade your parts over time as you have money as they come out, and never actually have to buy a whole new PC again. Proof in the pudding is that I've had my gaming PC now for about 15 years. I don't think there's any original parts still in it. I've replaced every part since then, but it's just doing it one by one. Another thing I forgot to mention when it came to PlayStation and Xbox cons is, I don't think I actually covered the Xbox cons, so I'm going to go back to console for a second. Is there's very limited ability to upgrade storage when it comes to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. Yes, they do have expandable memory, but you're limited still to just one chip. That is for the Switch anyway. For the Xbox and PlayStation, there's very limited ways to expand the storage. You are also limited to paid online service. The Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch, you do have to pay to play online. You've got to be part of their online service, which is something else you've got to consider. It's not just buying the console, but then you've got to pay monthly for or yearly for that. Going back to the PC, some other pros to talk about. The PC is best for streaming and content creating. So although on the consoles you can, and mobile, you can stream to Twitch or YouTube, you have to use things like capture cards or inbuilt capture cards. You can't use external services like Streamlabs to put on overlays and stuff like that. You can't use your Xbox or PlayStation to do amazing edits. You're going to have a PC as well, which kind of voids the point of having the console over a PC in the first place. So that's obviously a good thing for a PC. Also, a PC is quite versatile. You can use it for school, work, productivity, media. You could even have your PC plugged into your lounge TV so that you can use that for Netflix and all the rest of it. And arguably as well, the PC has the fastest controller setup as well. Yes, okay, you are limited when it comes to WASD, the fact that you can't do smooth moving around, but the flicking of the mouse is so much quicker than a joystick. The cons for the PC, the big one, it's most expensive. PCs can cost anywhere between £400 to thousands and thousands and thousands. And if you were to get quite a low, if you were to get a PC at the same cost as a PlayStation or an Xbox, the consoles will be better overall, I can tell you that now. They're also easiest to break when it comes to PCs. They're very fragile. The software they run on can very easily corrupt, or, I've had it where I turn off my PC, everything's fine. The next day I turn it on and bam, it's broken. Arguably, PC is also the hardest to fix unless you know how to fix it, if that makes sense. So yes, if your Xbox or PS4 breaks, you've got to go take it to a repair shop. You can't fix it yourself. Whereas with a PC, you can fix it yourself. However, it can be very difficult to do so unless you know how to. Another thing with PC about a con is that it requires more than just the PC. With Xbox, PS4, Switch, or mobile, you just buy the package and there you go. You've got everything you need apart from a TV screen, which I'd like to think everyone has a TV at home. With a PC, it's not just enough to buy the PC. You have to buy a specific monitor to work with your PC because TV screens aren't always the best for it. You've got to buy a desk. You've got to buy a keyboard. You've got to buy a mouse. You often got to buy a headset. I mean, I know you probably do that for PS4 and Xbox as well, but even still. You have to buy a lot more when it comes to PC. It's also the hardest to move. There's no flexibility of moving your PC around unless you went for a laptop, but we'll talk about that another day. So, there's all the pros and cons that I can think of. I'm sure there are lots more. Feel free to put in the comments if you have any other ideas of those different ways to get into gaming. So let's talk about the actual decision of which one should you go for. Now, I'll be honest, you need to ask yourself some questions before making that choice. So these are the sort of questions you need to ask. Firstly, what's your budget? There's no point in considering buying a PC if you can't afford a PC. At the same time, if you already have a mobile and you don't really have any money at all, then well, there you go, mobile gaming is your thing. So you first need to decide what is your budget, what can you afford, and what do you want to spend. Second thing you need to consider is what controller setup would you prefer. Now, in every single one of these different gaming setups we spoke about has a different controller. Mobile is on the screen, PS4, Xbox, Switch have their own controller setups, and each of the buttons are different and the feel of it are different. And obviously on PC you have mouse and keyboard. Now, I appreciate with COVID it's quite difficult, but what I would recommend you guys do is go out there and get a feel for each controller. Go to your local game store and have a feel of each controller, see which one you like the most, because that should come into play. Next thing you should ask yourself is what exclusives mean more to you. Now, on Xbox and PlayStation, there are quite often exclusive games. Sometimes you can't even get them on PC as well. There are very rarely games that are exclusively PC, but it's not impossible. And there's some exclusives on mobile, but it tends to be games that we don't really want on console. But yeah, have a look at exclusive games for each gaming setup and say to yourself, well, do any of those exclusives mean the most to me? For example, when I was younger, I went for the Xbox 360 over the PS3 because I really like Gears of War and Halo. So you've got to consider that for yourself. The next question you need to ask yourself is, do you wish to stream or content create? Because if you want to stream or want to make YouTube videos and you know that for a fact, then arguably you might want to go for a PC or a console like Xbox with a capture card. You need to really keep that in consideration, but PC is going to be your best bet. And lastly, probably the most important question, where are your friends? unless you have no friends. That'd be really sad. I'm sorry to bring that up if that is the case. Join the Coop. We'll be your friends. We'll be your friends. But no, where are your friends currently playing? You know, for me personally, gaming is fun when you're playing with someone else. I'm not much of a solo gamer. Now, if you're someone sat there going, nope, I'll always play games solo, then this question isn't for you. But if you are someone that wants to play with your friends, well, you've got to ask yourself, where are they? If all your friends are on Xbox, just get an Xbox. It doesn't matter if you might get a slightly better console by going for the Switch or the PC or whatever. You're going to be bored if you're not playing with your friends. You know, if all your friends are on PC, then try and save up a bit more money and go for PC. You'll regret it if all your friends are playing the new game you want to play and you're stuck playing it with randoms on a different console. Do keep in mind that cross-play compatibility is becoming quite a mainstream thing now. Most major games have cross-play. You know, the new Call of Duty does, Dead by Daylight does. It's good. It's really good to see. However, don't rely on that. So I would personally still go for the console where your friends are. So in short, going back to the original question, how should you get into the gaming world? Or as Drybones put it, what's enough to get a person into gaming? You need to self-evaluate based off those questions what you really want. If you want to get into gaming, consider your budget, where are your friends, what controller do you like the most, what exclusives mean more to you, do you want to stream? Answer all those questions and you will find what is best for you. I don't want to recommend one console over another one, as I might get a different experience with that console than you, so I don't want to say, yes, go buy an Xbox, that's the best one. You buy an Xbox and you're not going to have as much fun. So I'm sorry that's a bit of a wishy-washy answer, but I genuinely, hand on heart, can say I don't think there's any one console that's better than the other. You know, I personally am a PC gamer. I love PC gaming. I will always vouch for that. But I can't deny that my PC costs thousands of pounds, and I wouldn't have been there if I didn't work my ass off to buy it. And I appreciate that not everyone can buy a PC, so I can't turn around and be like, yeah, PC is the best gaming platform ever. You know, best graphically, best for the versatility, best for most amount of games, but it's damn expensive. Anyway, so in short, wishy-washy answer. Answer those questions and you'll find the answer for yourself. Hopefully this has been useful. If you are watching this and you genuinely are looking to get into gaming, then please do comment below what you think. I'd love to hear as well whether this has swayed anyone to go in either direction. If you are watching this video and you already have your setup, I'd be interested to know your opinions on anything I've said down below in the comments. And also guys, don't forget, if you have an idea for something for me to talk about on Coop Corner Chat, if you comment down below with a suggestion and it makes it into a video, you get 1,000 foul legs. Guys, thank you very much for watching episode 7 of Coop Corner Chat. I hope you've all had a lovely time. Thank you for everyone that's been recently supporting the channel, both on YouTube and Twitch. I am a Twitch streamer at heart, so check below the video to see my Twitch link to see when I go live. But in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to give it a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'm Fowl Gaming. Stay wholesome. Adios.